Hello, and thanks for joining us on the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Gen Con and the gaming capital of the world, this is The Established Facts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 96 of The Established Facts. That's right, 4 more, and we will be at 100 episodes. Exciting.
I'm aiming for PopCon. I'm hoping to get 100 at PopCon. And I'm sorry, Ragaar and Anton, but if I can record our live podcast at the convention for episode 100, that would be amazing. I'm just saying.
Do it.
Raggar's behind
We could speaker.
I'll be sad, but I'll be rooting for you.
We could speakerphone them in.
That could be funny. Like, just call them. Hey, just real quick, say hi on the 100th episode.
Say hi.
We should.
I'm going to be on West Palm Beach. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, okay.
No one likes you
There
anyway.
is that. There is that. So, episode 96.
Yay.
We hope everybody is gearing up for the Memorial Day holiday. Mother's Day is come and gone. Now we're ready to celebrate with fast cars and barbecues and that's right. We're in the racing capital of the world.
Yes, we are.
So
Music to
that's
my
going to be
ears.
exciting. It's going to be, Indy 500. What running is this of the Indy 500 there, Deb?
Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I figured it.
Huh?
You were muted. You were there, but you were muted. I figured it out. Somebody hit a button.
He fingered it out.
It's the 99th.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
99th.
Of running of the Indianapolis 500.
Next year will be
We're in the Centennial era.
Correct.
The 99th
Correct.
running.
Next year will be the 100th running.
Because it's been over
Not-
100 years since they started.
But it's the running. Because
Still 99th
it wasn't
race.
run during World War I and World War II. During
That.
certain years.
Speaking of which, we're coming up on our 100th episode. For
I've heard that too. Oh my
true.
gosh.
It's twice now. I feel like
Hey, we're going to get to 100 before they do.
I think they've got a few more years on us.
Hey, now.
I know.
I didn't
but-
say years. I said we'd get to 100 before
Hey,
they
quick
do.
blip.
Yes.
Make sure, new listeners, you've been checking out the After the Fact episode 1.
That's right.
For our After Action report for a role-playing game that just recently occurred. So
That's
please
right.
make sure you check that out.
That's right.
See, I had to plug it because I forgot last episode.
No, that's okay. That's all right. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, we're doing lots of really cool new stuff, new content we're working on to get some stuff out. I know Anton and Ragaar are working on Twitch stuff, which is pretty sweet. And
I think I may definitely contact you guys about getting that channel up because I may make it my PlayStation 4 channel instead, and then it'll be another source of, hey, listen to me be stupid and play PlayStation 4 games.
Account's already created.
hey, we could have a
Slash the
stupid
Established Facts.
we
There
could
you
have
go.
a stupid PlayStation 4 party.
Yay. I can do it on the Xbox One also, if it makes you feel better.
I wasn't going to say stupid though.
Yeah, I know.
What are we doing?
That's why I set them together.
Anyway.
I'm sorry, do you own one? Oh,
What?
that's right.
Hey now, hey now.
My brother has an Xbox One.
That hurts deep. That's deep, man. Deep. Anyway, so for episode 96 of The Established Facts, well, first of all, do we have any PSAs? If you are not planning or have not planned on going to Fear the Con 8,
You're wrong.
You're so wrong.
Yeah.
It's free.
Change your mind.
It's free. It's in St. Louis. The only thing you have to pay for is some place to
Hotel.
stay and gas and possibly some food
Yeah.
while you're there. But super affordable, super fun. Games are already on Con Planner, so get on what is it?
FearTheCon.com.
Or is it?
It's
FearTheCon.com.
And make sure you check out fearthecharity.org
That's
and
right.
fearthefruit.com for all that information.
Yeah, man.
Donate.
Donate.
If you need someone to sponsor, Big Don is your man.
I'm
He
sorry.
did it.
Josh.
I'm waiting for it.
Excuse me.
Sorry, no, I already.
You can
That's
say it
an
all you want.
exclusive plug.
Exclusive this.
Copywritten.
Trademark.
All right, so
Trademark the fact that I own the system that records this.
Oh, that's fine.
Lance and
remember-
crime are
He's so
also-
funny.
I own my microphone.
Hear that whole statement that was just going on. If you
remember-
need somebody to sponsor, Josh is your man.
I am a doctor, which means that if a question comes up medically on fear of the con, fear of the boot,
Yeah, you're a
established
doctor, which means
facts,
you can help sponsor your husband.
No, that means that I could actually legally answer a medical question.
I
So
can-
that means if you
I
sponsor
can
my
answer.
husband, the answer might come a little quicker.
Okay, but I can. Hang on.
Stuff
All right.
went down.
No. All right. We're going to throw the gauntlet. That's fine. I'm a recent legal studies paralegal student, so if you have any real legal questions about the dude who hit you on the way to the hospital when you're asking Dr. Deb about your broken leg, I'll help you there.
Yeah, but
and I know
tonight,
John from
I'm the one to help
John
you.
Grana?
Fear of the Boot, and he's a lawyer.
John
so,
Grana?
Yeah.
You mean the
remember-
guy who made
Shut your
Blood Moon
mouth. Shut
Goblins
your
that
mouth.
I actually supported?
Shut your mouth.
Oh, see?
Shut
the
it.
details.
Shut it.
Okay, I think our show,
right.
we can end right now. 'Cause I think
You want
everyone's way
a versus
entertained.
topic?
Yeah.
Don versus Josh.
Okay. As important as it is that we get,
Anyway,
believe me, we need the sponsorships. We're excited about
We
this.
do.
Even if you want to just go on there and you thought this was funny and
Yeah.
try and get a hold of Derek about sponsoring negative things against us. I don't
Oh,
care.
yeah,
It all
there's-
goes since the.
Yeah, technically, I
same
guess you
spot.
could screw us too.
Sure,
you don't have to
sure.
help us.
But remember, Don, that once all bids are in, we have to work together, so we can't hate each other too
Oh
much.
yeah. No. I'll tell you what. That was literally the hardest part about that contest last year.
Yeah.
Was being so competitive and trying to get sponsorship for all the cool, bennies and stuff like that, and then starting the game and going, oh crap, we're on the same team, aren't we? All this time I've been trying to thwart all of your plans, and I just realized they are for my benefit too.
That's right. My favorite
Jesus.
was Adam, right at the very beginning of the game before we'd even started everything.
Yeah.
Adam just looks at us and goes, "All right, I just want you guys to know. I know we're joking about this is an all-night dungeon crawl and this, but I really do want to make it the whole night.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
about
he
the
did.
rest
It was
of you.
funny. It was really funny.
Tony, what was that?
And where you who do you contact about screwing them?
That would
Derek.
be me.
Derek's
all
got the
that-
menu of.
I've got the full list, menu, prices, everything on fearthecharity.org.
I just had an idea for you.
We will definitely be talking.
I just had an on-air idea. You need to figure out how to no. You need to figure out how to make a Google form. They have the forms, Google Forms or
Right,
whatever, or
right.
some sort of fill-out form where people can submit a request to you for what they want done, and then you can send them a Square invoice so they can pay you for what it is they're asking to do.
That is brilliant, sir.
That is awesome. That's better than a Kickstarter.
That's.
I mean, because you're taking all your cards through
That's
Square,
amazing. Yeah.
so you
Okay,
can create.
well
That is
now
amazing. Okay.
I will throw my support behind Josh. Support him.
Your husband ain't gonna make it to Fear the Con. Only reason Derek.
I do believe that shows premeditation.
You do have a motive. Yes, Avital.
Okay, real quick. This is related to Indie PopCon. I am gonna be there all 3 days at the table with the established facts.
She is our booth girl.
Yeah. I made a little survey with a list of all my costumes, and you can vote on like what your top choices are out of my costumes for me to wear at PopCon. I'm gonna ask Josh to
To repost it.
to repost
Yeah.
it, maybe attach it to
Okay.
this episode. I'll give that to him.
Do you have a Princess Leia costume?
No, she has Han.
I have Han Solo.
Okay.
The Leia,
Actually, Derek, you could go in
The
with
Leia
your
that I have is
chainmail
really-
bikini.
Shut up.
my Princess Leia was like thrown together, and
Okay.
it's not a huge fan of it, and it's the Hoth one, so it's kind of warm. So
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
it's
Okay.
not my favorite. So I did
Not
not put
in
that on
June.
the list. But Han Solo is on the list.
Into
Okay,
June.
because I think that you would
dying.
make a really good Princess Leia.
I mean, I do have like the right kind of hair, although it's not as long as it used to be, so I don't have as much hair as she does anymore. But
Yeah, just put
You know.
2 cinnamon rolls
Gym
there.
socks.
I get it.
Gym socks.
Cinnamon rolls.
no, they're like Oreos on that
I saw,
Sesame Street.
I saw an absolutely hilarious Saturday Night Live skit where they were talking about HBO's TV series Girls, and they had Tina Fey on there, and they were doing the trailer and everything, and they have this new girl, an Albanian chick or whatever, who's like all run down and poor, and blah blah blah. Well, one of the girls has a bun in her hair, very Princess Leia, big bun, and they're sitting on the steps, and she looks at you and goes, "I'm very hungry. Can I have that donut on your head?"
Nice.
So get control of your.
I'm about to, since we're plugging stuff. For any of you who are interested in also helping out with the Fear the Charity event, but maybe you want a little bit of something back, I've actually started my own little fundraiser for that specific event called the Chair Cord Project. I will go ahead and make sure that there's a link on the show.
This?
Okay, so
As a person running Fear the Charity,
I have become very.
You thought your carnivalista stuff was enough?
Right. I've become very apt at making paracord bracelets and lanyards and keychains and things like that. And so what I wanted to do was to kind of give back to people who want to help support. If you are willing to put the money towards a bracelet, all of that money goes to my own personal sponsorship for the charity. So it's a way for me to raise money and give something back to somebody else.
you are intelligent, sir.
Well, I'm a marketing guy.
Okay, I'm now changing sponsors.
Hey! So...
I'm
so
I raised over $700 last year.
You did. You did.
Look at me like that.
So if you are interested, if you want to check something like that out, I do have a Facebook page. I will make sure that it gets thrown on our page, as well as a link in the show notes and things like
I'll
that.
put it up on Fear the Charity.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. There's a little price list and stuff like that.
I want that
too,
Google form sheet as soon as I can, because I can send that out to my guys who want to represent or whatever.
I'll get all that taken care of tomorrow
Cool.
or
Sweet.
Tuesday. Or
Perfect.
actually
So, getting into episode 96 of the Established
Hey,
Facts.
should we probably introduce ourselves?
No.
Yeah,
No?
that's where I was going next.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I would like to introduce everyone who is at the table and at our satellite tables, if you will. So since she stepped away for just a minute, I'll go ahead and start on my left instead of my right this time.
I'm Avital.
Hey guys, this is Derek.
This is Josh.
Dr. Deb is present, but she is letting the dogs out. So, via satellite from the sunny Florida,
This is Anton.
and hidden in his secret bombshell bunker.
This week I'm on Mars.
Oh, he's on Mars. Look at that.
I beat everybody.
That's an
Dang.
expensive ticket.
Surprisingly, the audio is coming in really well.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
latency is
This
really
is
good.
Ragaar, a.k.a. Jeremy.
he actually recorded all of his responses preemptively last week. So
I've got a laugh track set up.
there you go.
Shenanigans.
It's just a soundboard. We just have a
See, I can
Ragaar
just-
soundboard.
Oh, that's true. See, I can totally see Tony in his West Palm Beach is like lounging on the beach
With a laptop.
with a laptop and yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Ragar's
It's got to
on
be a
Mars.
dungeon.
You know.
The thing is,
You're in
I
a
could
dungeon.
do that. I really
Mars.
could. I have like 35 up on my cell phone on
Nice.
the beach.
No, shut up.
That's crazy.
Just shut
Why
up.
aren't you doing this now?
Just be quiet.
Because he got
Don't talk
Comcast
about
fixed.
the beach.
Oh, that's true.
I got Comcast fixed.
You fixed Comcast? How did you do
No,
that?
he said he got it fixed. He didn't say he fixed it.
I'm not that good.
All right. So, we were having a discussion before this episode about what we would really like to talk to you guys about, and Derek came up with a very interesting subject line about augmented gaming, or augmented reality gaming, if you will. So, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about those kind of things. So, for our versus topic, we're actually going to have a little bit of fun with virtual reality versus augmented reality, and this is a matter of what would you prefer to play? Would you prefer to play a virtual reality game or participate in an augmented reality game?
Before we do that,
Let's go ahead and define them.
Thank you.
So, a virtual reality game, well, I'll tell you what.
Like Virtual Boy?
Like a Virtual Boy.
Virtual
Like a
Boy.
Virtual Boy or
Or
Oculus. And they've got several...
Or Tracy Hickman's son and his group, now The Void. If anyone has not seen that video, look it
No.
up.
Yeah,
It's
I was gonna
amazing.
reference
Is it?
that next.
Amazing.
The Void? All right.
I did not watch it.
So essentially, what it allows a player to do is to immerse themselves into a virtual world and play a game. So if you were to play a virtual reality Call of Duty game, you would possibly have a headset on like an Oculus where the screen is kind of wrapped around your head at 180 degrees so that you can kind of see all of your panoramic. You can have a panoramic view, and you would have a controller, and it almost feels like it's a 3-dimensional world / very high definition.
Disney's also been experimenting with stuff like this, where
Yeah.
they introduce smells or water or something.
Any sort of ride that maybe you've ridden in the last 20 years that's considered a quote-unquote 4D experience, that would be, at its simplest form, what a virtual reality game might be.
Like MMOs to be virtual
No,
reality?
That's an interesting... That's all interesting.
I don't know.
MMOs would not. So here's the thing about virtual reality. Virtual reality is utilizing the virtual world
Physical.
to bring you to using the virtual world and bringing you into that world.
Right.
Augmented reality is using the real world and bringing the virtual world into yours.
You. Yeah. So
it's really good.
Running Man versus is it Running? No, it's Total Recall. Total Recall versus Marco Polo in the middle of Gen Con, something like that.
What?
It's I'll explain later. So
that could be a lot of fun. Just to hear somebody yell,
okay. I'll just tell you the story right now, real quick, so that you guys have augmented reality. Would be this: I was at Gen Con. It was my 3rd or 4th year, and I'm walking around the exhibit hall with, which was my newlywed wife at the time, and while we were walking around, a group of 20 people just started running. And we were like, what is... And they were, spread out. And then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, I hear, Marco! Polo! Across the exhibit hall. And I was like, that's the greatest game ever. I was like, how could you not have fun playing Marco Polo in the middle of the Gen Con exhibit hall?
I think that's a terrible idea, but a good idea.
Let's do it.
I just, it's not, so augmented reality would be something like, if you have been to Gen Con, the Cheese Weasel events that they do, where essentially you get a card and you go around to these different puzzles and you figure out the answers and things like that. Obviously, with Cheese Wheel, it's kind of a promotional / prize-oriented game and things like that. But anything that might, like Josh said, anything that might alter where you are to kind of bring the game into your world. Go ahead, Derek.
Where this idea, where I was introduced to this idea was at For Affinity.
For reality?
For reality.
For
sorry,
reality.
For reality. And
For reality, where you heard about augmented reality and we're curious how it related to virtual reality.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep. Exactly. And the way that it worked was that there was a storyline that the players could affect, and so they would play all these mini games, like you'd spin a wheel, or you would get these tokens, and you could either put them in one box or the other, and it was basically the congoers versus the machine. And so the congoers could decide if they wanted the players to win or if they wanted the machine to win.
Would True Dungeon be considered an augmented reality game?
I would say no.
I don't think so.
Definitely not augmented.
No, because
Okay.
you're not. See, augmented
Is
reality.
that more of an immersive?
Virtual?
Yeah.
An immersive reality?
It's an immersive game.
Okay.
Again, there's.
John?
Go ahead.
Think about it like this. An augmented reality is something that uses the real world, but has a extra element through another device.
Oh, okay. So like when you're playing your 3DS and you have that little game where you move the camera around and there's these little floating heads you have to
That's
shoot.
an augmented reality
Okay.
game.
That's an augmented reality.
Okay.
You could have your phone up as you're walking through your high school, and you might be playing Wolfenstein through the hallways.
Oh, nice.
Exactly. Something like that. Yeah. That's going to be your
Okay.
augmented reality, where it takes an element of the game combined with an element of the real world to create the full element.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm showing the people here at the table pictures about Microsoft's HoloLens, which is something they're working on with Windows 10, where they bring in holographic interactive elements into the real world, allowing you to run Windows applications, and Minecraft being the one that they thought was a perfect use for it.
Yep.
And you would basically,
That's
you're wearing
cool.
this headset, and it's got cameras and sensors and all this stuff, and you interact with the world around you,
That's
but
cool.
it's enhancing the world by putting these digital elements into it.
Okay.
Have
Oh,
you?
cow.
Isn't it?
Huh?
And the one
Kind of be both.
That
Because
no, because it's you have the surround, but this is enhancing the real world. That's the augmented reality. Virtual
Yes.
reality is completely putting you into the virtual world.
Okay.
perfect example of virtual reality that everybody can grasp is Tron.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The world of Tron.
Literally.
is
Or
a
the
virtual
holodeck
reality.
on Star Trek.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes.
I want
That's a
that
virtual
so
reality.
bad.
All
A
right.
holodeck. Oh.
But one that everybody can play, I know I mentioned it pre-show a couple times. There's a game that is out by a company that Google has bought called Ingress. It is a virtual capture the flag. There's basically two sides. There's the Enlightened and Resistance, and basically you go out and you capture portals that are based on art installations or notable things or notable places. And basically, it's just you walk around, you can capture them, you can attack them, and it's just a big back and forth capture the flag, and it's spread across the entire
That's
world.
cool.
I just downloaded it.
Yes.
So
and,
did I.
I think the established facts
did I.
maybe. Since Tony, you have the most experience on using Ingress, if there's a way to set up a team of sorts,
Not really.
No?
Not really. But you can get like groups of people together and go out. It works best in groups because like you can only put so many of a certain like level of trying to think of the words. Basically, you have a portal, and then you have these nodes on the portal.
Uh-huh.
You can only put certain level. What are they called? They're basically the device that you use to capture the portal. There's 8 levels of them. You can only have so many levels of like a certain size per person. So when you get up into the very large end of the spectrum, you can only have one level 8 node per portal. So you have to have 8 people to make it a level 8 portal. So basically, once you get larger groups together, you can actually make very strong areas.
there you go.
Yeah, it looks like there are two factions, though. There's the Enlightened and the Resistance.
Yeah.
Which one are you?
So we could
Anton?
all try joining one side.
Yeah, hang on a second. I gotta remember which one's which.
Well, okay. Well, he's working on that. I think what I'm going with that is the established facts is going to at least a few of us are going to join up on Ingress and play around a little bit to get a better idea of augmented reality. Since I know we're talking about it now, and I know Tony's going to be able to provide a little bit of information on the augmented. I've been following HoloLens pretty well with Microsoft because I've been testing Windows 10 on one of my servers, and I've been very interested in what Microsoft's doing with that. So that's a virtual reality element.
That thing's like a Google Glass on steroids.
It takes Google Glass and makes Google Glass look like an infant in comparison.
Yeah, it does. It's huge. I mean, it looks like some like Oakley visors.
Yes,
it's huge.
It's going to be very interesting. Imagine the Kinect attached to your head.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Does it have like a
That's weird, but it's what it is. It's a
stereo. Does it have like stereo sound and everything like that?
Microphones,
That's cool.
all this. They haven't announced any pricing.
I think
yet.
it would be really cool if it actually had like a earbud plug-in that you could just like jack your earbuds in and put them in your ear.
They may at some point. What they're showing now is imagine 2 small speaker grills just above where your ears are, and it's literally just like
it's just
because the microphones are near there as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's all part of
That
and
makes
it's
sense.
literally it's not attached to anything. It's fully wireless, and it has a like PC built into it running Windows.
That's cool.
That's as far as they've gone so far.
That's cool.
I am enlightened. So
Okay, Enlightened. So the established facts will probably join the Enlightened side. No?
Too late.
No.
Too late. I'm
Too
already
late.
resistant.
Resistance, Avital. Go resistance.
So it's the established facts versus the established facts.
Got it. That
Exactly.
should be interesting. So,
So-
I know you mentioned this as a versus topic.
Our versus topic,
So
Resistance versus
What-
enlightenment.
right? Resistance versus enlightened. Okay, so now that we kind of have a much better, much clearer definition on what augmented reality is versus virtual reality, let's get into our versus topic. So, would you prefer to play in an augmented reality game or a virtual reality game? Knowing the differences now, one being you are transported into a virtual world with virtual reality that you play, and the other being the virtual world is transported into your world, and you play. So,
Virtual.
all right,
Well then,
Hey.
Jacking in.
you're good. Anton. Anton.
He left.
Did he?
I'm
He-
here.
No.
I'm here. Stupid mouse on different screen.
Oh.
No. Virtual, 100%.
Virtual and 2 virtuals. All right, Debbie.
I can't believe this. I actually think that I'm going to agree with Tony and Ragaar with virtual. What kind of world is this? I'm so confused.
Joshy.
Virtual.
Derek.
But I actually have good reasoning for Augmented as well. I'm just not going to sit on the fence.
Augmented.
Augmented.
Oh, I'm totally sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
Because lots of things.
Because reasons.
Lots of things I have to say
Okay.
in a minute.
Excellent.
I'm going to have to say, because it's new to me, I'm going to have to say Augmented.
Okay.
So, Avital,
All right.
So we're going to start on the fence.
my
Yeah, we're
fence
starting on the
sitter.
fence.
You don't want us to try and pull her one way or the other yet, huh?
No, I want to see why she decided to sit on the fence today.
All right.
It's comfy and they have cookies.
Okay. I have not. Excuse me.
Derek and I left it nice and warm for the
Yeah,
last
exactly.
podcast.
Obviously, I have not experienced either of these things yet. I haven't played an augmented reality game or a virtual reality game. So I don't know from experience which one I would like more. The whole idea of virtual reality sounds, obviously really cool. However, just from what it sounds like so far, is that it's, at the moment, at least geared more towards like some of the fighting and battle games, and those are not my scene. Like, I like things that don't necessarily require hand-eye coordination. Not that I'm necessarily bad at that, but like
I don't think either one of these are for you then.
No, but from what I've seen on what we've been looking at with the augmented reality, like this Ingress game, you know, you're in a place, you're walking around and maybe doing things. I mean, obviously I haven't actually played it yet.
Right.
And Microsoft
HoloLens.
I think it would be Holo, wouldn't it?
Holograph.
Holograph? Yeah, I guess so.
HoloLens.
Holograph?
That's also what they've said.
That's annoying.
Talk to them about that.
Listen, this isn't You Only Live Once. It's not YOLO, okay? It's Hollow.
YOLO.
Or holla.
But from what you have just shown
my
me
gosh.
of the HoloLens, just the uses of that, the augmented reality, seems more something along the lines of what I would do. I've never actually played Minecraft, but you know, it's more the kind of thing you're building this, or you know, you're working on something. However, I feel that there could obviously be something in virtual reality that I would enjoy. I'm just not about like shoot 'em ups and first person shooters and things like that. Just in video games that I've played, I tend to like the more turn based things, like say Pokemon on the Game Boy, or
Oh gosh, Pokemon Snap.
I never actually played that one. But so, you know, I kind of can see the virtues of both things.
Derek. You said Augmented, correct?
I did say Augmented. And the reason why is that while virtual reality does interest me, I honestly figure it's just another video game. Whereas there's another level that's brought when you try to bring the game into the world. And especially with the game that we were playing it for reality, it was sort of an intro, first time of trying to do a con level game like that. And I think that it has a lot of potential. So, I mean, that's part of what I'm doing at Fear the Con, because there's a storyline behind it. And I'm also going to be doing con reality games as well, which is a service I'm going to do for, like, if cons want to have, like, an augmented reality game, for a charity. So
Cool.
yeah, it's one of those things where I think that there's a lot of potential with it versus I think that virtual reality is just like another user interface.
Well, I said augmented because I feel like I've got a little bit of experience playing some like virtual reality type games. I haven't actually tried the Oculus yet, but just the concept of being able to use, whether it be a visor or a mobile device, 3DS or a phone or something like that, and literally looking at some sort of scenic whatever that you're physically looking at, and then through the eyes of the actual device, other things are added onto it. I just think that that's a really, really, really cool opportunity for gamers to really get into it. And then on top of that, like I said, like Cheese Weasel uses it for promotional opportunities and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool too, like being able to interact with other gamers to solve puzzles and stuff like that for a chance to win a pass for the next year's Gen Con or something like that. I just think that's kind of neat. Like it brings a whole nother level to...
It brings a dimension to like
right.
con, because typically with cons it's very broken up because you have like you're going from a game to another game.
Right.
Versus now you've got something that is...
kind of fills in the gap right there.
Right.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
It's con wide, so
and it's not something that you necessarily have to. I know that there's a lot of people that when they get there, they go to the Cheese Weasel booth and they go and get their card, and then they immediately start hitting all the. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they play it all weekend,
right?
So literally, it can be one of those things that as you're passing from one game, maybe you've got an hour break, and it only takes you half an hour to get from the con center to your hotel that you're going to or whatever. On your way, maybe you see 2 or 3 of them, and you stop and you kind of look at it and you try and figure it out. And then if you can figure it out, you write down the answer and you just keep going. And it kind of fills that void, that time that normally you would just be walking around and staring aimlessly into the wall because you haven't gotten any sleep in the last few days.
I think that it also can tie a convention together. Like, because we have these themes that Gen Con puts out every year.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel the theme of the con.
Right.
But if you add like a storyline behind it, then like the convention goers against the machine, then you feel like, okay, now everything's tying together and there's like some purpose behind it.
Go ahead, Avital.
For Gen Con specifically, one issue I think with using an augmented reality thing is that in the convention center, getting like reception on your devices is kind of difficult. So I mean, if you're trying to use that, like your cell phone or a tablet or something, that can be.
It just depends
specifically in that location.
Yeah, but it depends on the medium that you're going to be using.
If you're using.
But like they had those, like what was it? Several years ago, they had the Russian theme. That would have been perfect to put something behind that.
Yeah, well, and then like last year it was Level Up or
Level
this
Up,
year?
yeah.
like something along those lines. Like if you used, well, I know one thing that they do on occasion is, like for example, last year they had really cool Pathfinder had really cool swag buttons that went along with the theme of Gen Con.
They've done that the last couple of years.
Right, and so what it does is it promotes you going and checking out these other booths to get the button with the intent that you're going to get a little bit of swag and you're going to check out whatever these people are vending, which I think is really neat, which I feel like is kind of an augmented reality game in and of itself. With the goal that's what you're trying to do is you're trying to gather all these buttons and stuff like that or badges or what have you. But I feel like you can use it for a really fun marketing tool. You can use it for a really cool promotional thing for whatever your widget is and stuff like that. So let's get over to the virtual reality side, and we'll start with Joshy.
Okay, so the key phrase I took from your versus question was game. And that's part of the reason why I led towards virtual. The reason I mentioned that is talking about the HoloLens, showing the stuff and everything that's on there. I believe that in a real world usage, that augmented reality could be extremely useful. Things like being able to pull down your list of calendar events and make changes to it in front of you, physically interacting with it. Very Minority Report style, if anyone could think about that.
Oh yeah.
If you have
Iron Man
too,
interacting.
Jarvis.
Oh, yes.
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 He's interacting.
So
Yeah.
that's an augmented reality type thing. But when playing a game, I tend to play a game to escape. It's an escapist mentality. So for virtual reality, the idea of being able to put yourself 100% into a world that you are currently not in, the idea that comes to mind, the game of Skyrim, or any of the Elder Scrolls games, being able to play those games in a virtual setting, as in I am the
Hero.
Yes, I am the hero. I can cast spells. I can use weapons. I can ride dragons. You know, these types of ideas. I see virtual reality as a fantastic gaming platform for those utilizing it for that purpose. And now, granted, a side-scroller wouldn't come off very well as a virtual reality game, because if you've seen anyone who's done those like 3-dimensional videos of watching Mario run across, if it were a side-scroller, but he's covered in lava, because, you know, he falls off anywhere, he dies. So it's just, obviously, it has to be lava. But it's pretty funny looking, because it's a straight line. But you're looking at it now from the viewpoint of Mario. So a game like Uncharted, as I've mentioned many times, it's currently, you know, more of a third-person back, but imagine playing that same type of game, but you are the one jumping and shooting. And yes, I know you mentioned shooting games, but that's why I gave fantasy as the first thing that I could think of.
Right.
Imagine walking around an area and actually stumbling across Pokemon and reaching down to pick up a Pokemon. Now, granted, it would be just as a Pokeball. Well, you pick, or you use the Pokeball to do it.
Well,
whatever.
however you enslave those poor
It doesn't
creatures.
matter. But that can be done. Now, granted, trademarked augmented reality idea, Pokemon, the augmented reality game.
That's where I was going with
That'd be
Pokemon
so cool.
Snap.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is that a similar idea? You take pictures and there's Pokemon there, apparently?
Yep.
Okay. Can't trademark that. Sorry, Mark. Okay.
No, I don't know if it exists already. That was the same idea I had.
Okay.
So it's still trademarked.
It is still trademarked, and I can't trademark it, so I have to Mario jump myself. Wow. But anyways, that's where I see virtual reality as a game being specific. As a technology, I find augmented to be more interesting.
There is a book called Ready Player One, which
Yes.
is one of my favorite books.
Will Wheaton did the audiobook.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
I think they're making a movie, too.
They had better, because I would be giving them all my money.
Okay,
So-
I haven't read it yet, but I've heard good things. So,
So
Yes.
if I could jump in next.
please.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that you were describing, Josh, is exactly the same reason I went virtual.
Hey.
The idea that, you know, I can sit down or walk into a room and go as far as my imagination will let me. In the real world, with augmented reality, I'm bounded by places that I can actually travel. Or that I can visually see. But in a virtual world, I don't have those limits.
Exactly.
Yeah, but getting back to Ready Player One, the storyline is about a virtual world, and where everybody, the economies have been collapsing. It's really technically not post-apocalyptic, but sort of. Like there was an energy crisis, and people can't get around as far as they used to. So they use this virtual reality world to do shopping, to vote, to play games, to do everything. And you can get all sorts of equipment, like haptic suits, where you can get feel the world around you. You can get treadmills and so forth. And the main character at one point mentions that, and I'm just paraphrasing this, that we've spent billions of dollars to fool our senses into thinking that the virtual world was our real own world, while we've basically forgotten the real world.
Oh yeah, I could absolutely see that kind of like I guess addiction.
Yeah.
And the reason why
that's a very possibility.
the reason why I brought this up was because of Josh's mention of escapism, because that was a cause of the of that addiction to the virtual world. Was everybody wanted to escape the real world problems and not deal with them?
I'm trying to remember
Isn't that kind of like the I mean, it's not necessarily the theme, but it's kind of the overall mechanic of like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Well, what was there's another one that
There's a
came
move
out.
Bruce Willis did.
Surrogate.
I was
Surrogate.
thinking of that
Surrogate,
movie.
yeah.
I was
That
thinking-
see what surrogate
It's, like,
is
different, though.
is allowing the virtual world to augment your reality. That because you are instead sitting at home living through the life of a robot in the real world.
That looks like you.
It looks
they're
exactly
real
like
people.
you. That was lazy.
So there was surrogates. And there was another one where you could basically you could be players and you could be basically two halves. Where
It's
you
called
could be taken
Gamer.
over.
It's called Gamer.
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
Yeah.
Gamer, where
I
they
haven't seen Surrogates
don't.
either, but
Don't.
don't see Gamer.
No.
The premise behind it is they took a prisoner and they had a like 12 or 14-year-old first-person shooter like Master control this prisoner and use him as a military
I
like
don't
weapon.
think no, that's not.
It's
Have you
a
seen
it's
it?
a
Nah,
tournament.
that
No,
was
it's a tournament. It's a first-person shooter
Oh my
tournament where
God.
they use real people instead of yeah.
oh, so it's Death Race for FPS.
Basically,
Oh, that's
it's
terrible.
basically Death Race. Only you're being controlled by someone else.
what is
And if you get through X number of
First-person
battles,
shooter.
then the prisoner gets their freedom.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, there's later in the movie there's an aspect to where they're showing people who are basically giving themselves up to be taken over by other people playing, and
Yeah.
they get paid for it.
Well, and they're essentially in like a what would be like Second Life or Sims kind of world too.
Yeah. But it's real, but it's in the real world.
Right.
So basically the person playing the game is someplace else, and the person playing the game goes into this area where they basically have set up for whatever, and with being given remote control of yourself to
Yeah.
somebody else.
That's
but-
creepy.
Yeah,
It is very
Yeah,
creepy.
it's really creepy.
But back to what I was going to say, though. For me, the aspect of virtual is it's about difference because there's so much you can do. And I look at virtual not as in the technology we have today for virtual reality, but as in the technology that is to come. More of full dive, full sensory dive virtual reality, where you don't have an aspect of your real body when you're playing the game. And basically, I look at it like because it's not so much of escaping the world as it is experiencing something that is completely devoid of the world. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's just how you're approaching the tool. I mean,
Yeah, but it's not about like escaping. It's about experiencing something completely different.
Well, and that may be for you. It's just I say again, it's how you approach it.
Yeah, and I think that I get totally what you're saying. Tony, what you're saying makes sense. You're going for an experience. I was going for an escape. And I think both of those approaches are available through augmented or virtual.
Correct.
Which is, I think, ultimately what you were kind of pointing out there, too, with the augmented winning over, in your opinion. Mm-hmm. So now, I guess I would add a question then on to that. What if the virtual world you're playing, utilizing that as a real-world experience? Meaning, say you never feel like you're ever going to be able to afford to go to Paris. Paris is just one place I can think of. Using the virtual world, virtual reality,
Yep.
to experience real reality.
Yep.
You mean Total Recall?
Google Maps.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Total Recall is.
True.
Sort of.
You go in, you pay for a vacation, they stick you in a chair, they boot you up with all of these different
Memories.
Memories.
Well, I
Yep.
mean, they shoot you up. They shoot you up with all these chemicals that basically put you in like a deep sleep, hypnotic trance sleep, and then they jack you into computers, and then literally deliver you the memories of walking around in this virtual. Which is really, if you've watched the original one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, from beginning to end, the end, you go, well, was that real or
That was done on purpose.
was that not? I know it was, but because what he lives out is exactly what he pays for.
Yeah.
But then, is it? So anyway.
Yep.
Did the top fall over in Inception?
Yes.
I don't like you.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
That movie.
Don't watch that in Black Swan in the same weekend.
No,
No,
please
that's
don't.
a horrible
I
idea.
don't want to watch Black Swan ever, so.
It's a good movie, not right before Inception.
No.
Holy smack.
No, nowhere near Inception.
Fracked
Like
my
I'd say
brain for the
6
whole
months
weekend.
apart, so you've forgotten about Inception.
Seriously.
Or just watch it first.
All right. So the issue of like virtual reality, using that to maybe go places you can't go. For me, as somebody who has been able to do some traveling, I wouldn't want to like experience like a place like just in the virtual reality, even if it may seem pretty real. Like for me, like I want the actual experience of going there, because it almost feels like cheating. However, if the technology gets that far, I think that would be an amazing thing to do, like say for people that have like some kind of handicap. Mm-hmm. Like say they wanted to walk up Machu Picchu,
Right.
and they're in a wheelchair.
Right.
Or how about in school, like if your programming chops are good enough, you can send people back to the 1800s.
Yeah, history. Oh gosh, like as into living history as I am, like which is
That would be very cool.
like living
That would
history
be
as
nice.
Prairie with virtual
Connor
reality.
Prairie with virtual reality. Like, what is that?
Ragaar, are you running from the cops again?
No.
Okay. That's good.
So uncertain with that.
When you drop and I hear you starting to run, I'll
That's
know what
right.
happened. Okay.
I've got to go in 7 minutes.
Got it.
All right.
All right. So, but yeah, for maybe teaching purposes or for people that physically cannot go places, I think it's a great idea. But I mean, if people want to pay and do that, whatever they can, I'm not going to, even if the technology gets that far.
Understand.
So,
Well, the other aspect is to be able to deliver a story to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what this is leading towards is, do you want to deliver it in this medium or can you deliver it in this medium? And so it's kind of the authors and designers' perspective of how would that be done in the best way suited to that story.
Yeah. I just think that the elements and the levels of virtual reality gaming versus augmented reality gaming are just kind of cool to think about.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
There's pros
they're
and
almost
cons to either approach.
right, and I think that they're almost. I mean, they're different, but they're almost one and the same. Like,
Yeah.
they're
I agree.
they're almost. It's kind of like they're
like reality.
siblings from a very similar mother idea,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah, reality.
Well, yes, but taking the reality that you know and changing it, like
It's how you put people into the story.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
how much do you want to be into the story? Do
Yeah.
you want to affect the world, or do you want to just watch a good movie?
Yeah, that's true. Deb?
So I wonder if there's any tie over. Oh, and Maggie is weighing in on this as well. Any tie over between the style of games that a person likes, and I think it was on a previous episode, and forgive me if I'm splicing it, like fantasy versus sci-fi, or the idea of like mutants and masterminds is placed in today's world, but there's actual mutants around, or there are some role-play games where you're playing in this world, but then there's some sort of fantastical thing, like, they are vampires and werewolves or something. That strikes me as more like an augmented idea. You're still in this world, but then you're adding, as opposed to being someone who wants to play in a Star Wars universe, or the Star Trek universe, or the Lord of the Rings universe, or stepping literally outside of this
Wait, you don't
world
think
and
you
this
can
earth.
have a fight with Darth Vader in the streets of New York?
I don't want to.
That was pretty good.
Wow, that's
That was-
really good.
Wow. Thanks.
That's right.
Oh, I
And new
think
to
you
the
could.
new to
But
the
if I'm gonna
established
fight Darth
facts.
Vader, I kind of want to do it
Anakin Skywalker.
on Dagobah or I kind of want to do it on Hoth.
Oh, that's fair.
Or
I mean, that would be
kinda wanna-
cool.
You know,
That would be
So
cool.
I wonder if there are people out there who are like, I'd rather play the Mutants and Masterminds if they would enjoy Augmented, because I love virtual, but see, I want to be able to put my virtual stuff on and walk into Rivendell. I mean, I would pass out in the virtual reality. I'd just be like, back. And I'm just
Calm
out.
it down over there, Avital.
Yeah,
Calm it
that's
down.
okay, because I'm right there with you.
So
Can you
I have-
imagine walking into Lothlorien?
I have two.
See?
The Enterprise, yeah.
I have two
Or
quick things.
walking into a police booth and like going into.
And even going
All right,
to
let's
this,
not nerd out way too much.
I'm shaking my baby, but she's not getting shaken baby. So
Half of the people at this podcast won't be able to get out of their chair.
the whole living history idea that you guys brought up.
I agree.
going
I think
back
that's
and being
cool.
able to experience
Yes.
the Civil War.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, even
Yeah.
if you just did like the last 200, 300 years of the world that have been like, extremely well
documented by
recorded.
pictures. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I think that would be
fantastic.
that would be so cool. Like,
World War II.
I think it would be really neat.
But
The
I
Battle
really
of
want to
Britain?
see the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah.
I mean, that would just be totally out of someone's head, but
That's
I still
okay.
want to see it.
Something to think about, like outside of the standard realm of what we kind of think of, but think about it like this. So you can, with like a hybrid augmented virtual system, where you use the real world as a starting point, but it's a virtual reality engine. You can use it for like extreme planning and stuff. So you like imagine this: you
Yeah.
have say space,
link it with an AutoCAD system and literally build a building.
SimCity.
Yep.
kind of like a cross between like an AutoCAD and a Minecraft type aspect.
Yeah.
where you
The
can
Sims.
go-
I was thinking just
Sims.
about Minecraft too.
Yeah, like
Well, I mean, if you
leveling out,
Go
building
ahead.
buildings, planning a city, doing all this kind of stuff, where you could literally take the hybrids of both augmented reality and virtual reality and put them into a realm that can be used in so many different aspects.
yeah, you
have
could.
the opportunity to beta test ideas.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. What if you were a city planner and you could just step into what you're designing on paper
Right.
in a virtual reality, be like, oh wait, that doesn't work at all. Okay,
And
that,
get other
that
people
building
to
needs to
beta
shrink.
test with you to
They're doing this. They're already doing
experience,
this
like
in
how the
aspects
flow
with.
of
Right.
everything's going to go.
Yes, yeah.
They're already doing this in some aspects with Minecraft because recently I think it was either Haiti or someplace where they were basically they had taken photos of what the area looked like beforehand, built it in Minecraft, and then they were using it as planning to rebuild the area.
Well, that's cool.
That's cool.
See?
That's cool.
That's
Super cool.
That's super cool.
Microsoft HoloLens was showing off an architectural design system very much like AutoCAD, where the guy was literally building it using the blueprints.
I just think it's cool.
I think it would be cool, really awesome as well, like, if you took that into the real world. So as you have your plan, like your outline of your plan, and then you start moving stuff, and then raw materials start moving on site as well.
So
Yeah.
a couple things that I want to enlighten our minds with, not necessarily for an answer, but just to kind of think about. So,
Wait, Ragaar does need to go. Do we?
oh, okay. Sorry, I did not
no,
realize
it's okay.
that. Go ahead,
You have
Ragaar.
any more? You have any more you'd like to add?
Actually, no.